Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Don Mafia Report. The dust is settled after Brandon Beane did not pull the trigger at the trade deadline, although that a lot of us were hoping that a wide receiver would have been brought into the building. Perhaps some of us would have wanted a defensive tackle to account for some of the injuries that we had with Michael Hoyt and also Ed Oliver. But here we stand with the exact same roster we had that just played Kansas City a couple of days ago. We move forward. We are on to the Miami Dolphins, but we're not looking at the Miami Dolphins game. I think all of us are pretty convinced that we're going to walk away with a victory and improve to 7-2. I think we're all pretty convinced that the regular season is going to shape out how it typically does for this team, a playoff berth, likely a division title. But I think that there's still things left to be desired on this team, depending on who you ask, particularly within this fan base. So on today's episode, we are going to be looking at what perhaps made Beane not be as aggressive. So actually, I'll backtrack. I don't think that he wasn't aggressive. The correct way of looking at it is why he didn't end up pulling the trigger and why he didn't end up sending off draft capital, what possibly could have been going through his mind. I can tell you guys that I share your frustration. You have been watching my stream for the past couple of weeks. I've pointed out some of the differences that we have seen in wide receiver efficiency, particularly outside of the numbers. Why I would have liked a piece to be added. Why I would have been okay with a new defensive tackle to come in to right the wrongs of the football gods for injuring some of our defensive players. But I think I kind of want to treat today's episode as our therapy session. Normally, as you know, I typically spend Wednesdays previewing the game coming on Sunday. Have no fear. We are going to save that for tomorrow. But I mean, let's go on ahead and start unpacking all of this. As you're coming in, I ask each and every single one of you to hit that thumbs up sign for me. Guys, it is the easiest way to show love over here on the channel. I want to propel this out to the YouTube algorithm. I want to continue to grow the community that we have built together for the past couple of years. How we accomplish that by welcoming in new family members is by hitting that thumbs up sign. I think that we can all do it. As always, do me a favor and let me know where you're tuning in from. What corner of the globe are you tapping in from this morning? Are you at work? Do you have the day off? Are you running errands? Do not be shy. I'm talking to all of the lurkers in the building. Where are you tuning in from? Do not be shy. Let's go on ahead and give a couple of shout outs here to our proud partners, starting off with our good friends over at William Matar. Folks, if you are ever hurt in a car, you got to call William Matar, #1 car accident attorney in the state of New York. Obviously, I would not wish a car accident on anybody, but that is the cruel reality of the world that we live in. If you ever find yourself on the receiving end of a car wreck that causes an injury, you need to make sure you have the right guy in your corner to make sure that you have the best chance of getting financial compensation. Shout out to William Matar for being a proud partner. Memorize that phone number on the screen and just keep that in your back pocket. Also need to give a giant shout out to our good friends over on Sleeper. Folks, Sleeper is the #1 player prop platform on the market today, right? It's a very simple process. Pick anywhere between 2 to 6 players. If you accurately predict their projections, you could see winnings of up to 1,000x of your initial play. Signing up, you get $20 for free. That's the best promo in the game, folks. $20, no risk whatsoever, just for signing up. And then if you put a deposit down, then you are also getting a 100% deposit match all the way up to $100 as long as you use code DonMafia. Link is in bio. Definitely go check that out, man. Shout out to Sleeper for being that proud partner. But guys, like I said, Brandon Beane did not make a move at the trade deadline. And a lot of people were upset, right? Especially once we end up transitioning over to this visual. Here, let me get this real fast. Bang. Brandon Beane did not make a move at the trade deadline. And a lot of us were upset because we saw Rashid Shaheed go over to the Seattle Seahawks for a 3rd and a 5th. We ultimately ended up seeing a couple of other wide receivers go on the move. Jacoby Myers is now a Jacksonville Jaguar for If I remember correctly, I think a 4th round and a 6th round ended up getting it done. And a lot of Bills fans were saying, oh man, like why didn't Brandon Beane beat that asking price? For me, say that you've been watching me for the past couple of days, both of those players weren't particularly high on my list. I did not want to bring in a guy just to bring in a guy. I did not think that Jakobi Meyers really helped this team too much. He's not a vertical threat. He's not very fast. He's not particularly somebody that I think would be a wide receiver 1. He was a wide receiver 1 upside sort of player. Same exact thing with Rashid Shaheed. Sure, he had perimeter speed, but at the exact same time, you look at Buffalo, and they're not particularly a downfield passing type offense. They rarely have been outside of 2021. And that really goes into how Josh Allen struggles. He's never really been top 5 in success rate downfield 20 yards. So both of the guys that did end up changing scenery and finding new teams, I wasn't particularly upset. In fact, I almost ended up having a sigh of relief that neither of those guys were added because I just didn't see them fitting what Josh Allen does well. And I feel like that it would have been a lateral move and it really wouldn't have made our offense any better if you were to ask me. I wanted a bona fide dude, a bona fide wide receiver number 1. I wanted a Jalen Waddle. I wanted a Garrett Wilson. I wanted a Chris Olave. And unfortunately, all 3 of those guys, their teams were not willing to part ways with them. I don't know exactly what Beane offered based off of reports from Diana Rossini. She said that AFC East teams called the Jets on behalf of Garrett Wilson to see if he was available. I think based off of process of elimination, we know that Miami wasn't one of those teams. More than likely, the New England Patriots probably made a call just for, like poops and giggles. But when it comes down into AFC East teams checking for Garrett Wilson, I think the story writes itself. It sounds like Beane was at least entertaining and trying to figure out exactly how much Garrett Wilson would have cost in the first place. Same thing with Chris Olave. It sounds like for some reason that team wants to keep him, and maybe they do want to extend him this offseason. I'm not particularly all that convinced. And Jalen Waddle, who, again, is standing pat and rotting away on the Miami Dolphins. Those were the 3 guys I wanted. It ultimately didn't end up happening. But should we be pissed off? Should we be pissed that Beane didn't end up making a move to bring in some sort of help? I'm kind of walking the line. I'm kind of teetering on this one. Because, again, I didn't want to make a move just to make a move. Again, I don't think Jakobi Meyers would have made this team better. I don't think Rashid Shaheed would have made this team significantly better. What I was looking for was an altering type move on the outside. And I guess Brandon Beane just didn't see it. But again, what made him not go after Shaheed? What made him not go after with Jakobi Meyers? Maybe it had to do with the price. Why was he so conservative? Why didn't he spend his draft capital? All we can do is just look at what Brandon Beane more than likely was looking at. And I ultimately ended up pulling up a couple of things, and this is probably going to upset you, but at the end of the day, every single GM, every single NFL organization has data guys. They have advanced metric guys that look at how a team is performing throughout the entire season and then also within the past couple of games to show some signs of improvement. And this is what I think being put into consideration when not beating the price for some of these other wide receivers. The first thing that I think that he looked at was this. Number 1, the Buffalo Bills passing offense has shown a significant improvement after the bye. Maybe that's why Beane didn't pull the trigger, is what I said over on X. By the way, I highly recommend you go follow me on X. I post a lot of advanced metrics. I post a lot of things that the eye test doesn't necessarily show out on the football field. It's always a good follow, in my opinion. But when you compare the Buffalo Bills passing EPA per play from weeks 1 and week 6, and obviously we had a heater week 1 through 4. We had our October slump for 2 games. We were 0.167 pass EPA per play. But then when you compare after the bye week, the Buffalo Bills have shown a plus 100% improvement. A plus 100% improvement. Again, I'm not saying that this justifies staying pat. I'm just trying to put together and put ourselves in Brandon Beane's shoes in how he ended up making these decisions. He saw a 100% improvement in advanced metrics and pass play efficiency, followed by passing to exclusively wide receivers. You ultimately ended up seeing a drastic improvement between weeks 1 and 6 and weeks 8 and 9. All right, a 60.7 success rate compared to 54.5, a massive jump in EPA per play, about 54% improvement. A lot of that, I think, was starting to feed more so Dalton Kincaid, was starting to feed like more so Khalil Shakir. That's what it was, and ignoring Keon Coleman for the most part. That likely was the reason that there has been such a significant improvement based off of advanced numbers. And make no mistake, folks, we were going up against two very good defenses. So don't sit here and say, oh, yeah, like that's nothing to prove. Like we ultimately ended up going against a Spagnuolo-led Kansas City Chiefs defense. That is something I think we can hang our hat on. Moving forward, the second thing that I think Beane saw, and something that I am actually willing to agree with here. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, a lot of people are going to go with the knee-jerk reaction and say that we do not have any weapons. Well, folks, I can point out four. Number one, we have Dalton Kincaid, who is, where it stands, the best tight end in football. Now, of course, with Tucker Kraft and his injury. He is second best tight end in the league EPA. He is the best tight end in the league for EPA per target by a significant margin, by the way. When I pulled these numbers, you would be shocked how elite Dalton Kincaid has been playing so far this year. And he is second in DVOA, only second to Tucker Kraft. And as many of you know, he suffered an injury just last week. So we have, by advanced metrics and numbers, we have an elite tight end on this squad, followed by James Cook. He is the second best running back in the NFL total EPA. He is only second to Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor only has the edge on him 0.1%. They are dead set as far as efficiency and how good they have been playing. They are 0.135 EPA per attempt. That is second best out of all running backs. And he is second in DVOA, 30.7%, second place. And in case any of you guys do not know what either of these advanced metrics means, what DVOA compares what the average running back would perform based off of quality of competition. So with James, he's not holding anything back. He is still a wildly efficient running back. Some of you can go on ahead and say, hey, you know what? Like, he didn't have the numbers in Atlanta. He didn't have the numbers in New England. I would argue the complete opposite. He did. It was more of a strategy piece from Joe Brady for completely taking him off of the field. This was not based off of production. This was based off of utilization. Like it or not, what James Cook is having his way with every single defense so far this year. It is what it is. Followed by an offensive line. We have a top 5 offensive line in this league. We are number 1 in run schemes, and we are top 5 in preventing pressure at 24%. That right there, folks, are 3 weapons. And yes, I would consider an offensive line to be a weapon, is a elite category. All 3 of them. And then last but not least, we have the reigning MVP. And many of us would agree that he is amongst the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. So when you ultimately look at this offense, you have 4 elite weapons. You have James Cook, you have Dalton Kincaid, solid offensive line, and a quarterback. Okay? Now, Dan, what about wide receiver, man? We really need a wide receiver because that is where we are struggling. One thing I always like reminding everybody is that this is a cap-controlled league. There is a salary cap instituted within this league. Every single team in the league, maybe outside of the Philadelphia Eagles, although that I could probably point out a couple of things where they're struggling with here. Well, number one, with Philadelphia, they have seen a significant hit in run blocking efficiency since last year, hence why Saquon Barkley has regressed a little bit. But that's a conversation for a different time. You pick any team in the NFL, there is going to be a weakness on that squad. It is what salary cap was created for, because you don't want the NFL to look like Major League Baseball, where you have unlimited funds and you can go ahead and build super teams all across. This Buffalo Bills team, no matter how you look at it, right? So they have a better running back than 30 teams in the NFL, okay? So they have the best tight end in football right now, right? So that's an advantage. So they have an offensive line, which is better than 28-29 of other teams in the NFL. And of course, they have a quarterback, or we have a quarterback that is better than 31 plus other teams in the league. It's just how it is. Those are the advantages. You could point out a couple of teams here, right? And like you could say, oh, Dan, look at the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, cool. What advantages do the Buffalo Bills have over the Indianapolis Colts? What position groups are better than the Indianapolis Colts? I would say quarterback, hands down. Like, yes, I'm happy that Daniel Jones is doing his thing right now, but like when you put Josh Allen and Daniel Jones together and next to each other, I think that we all agree that Josh is indeed the better answer, okay? You have James Cook and Jonathan Taylor are literally neck and neck based off of production. Same thing with their offensive lines. And really, when you look at the Indianapolis Colts, how good are they at receiver? How good are they at receiver, truly? Like Pittman, great. Like, he is a possession type receiver. He's not like a big deep threat. This Colts team is basically built up exactly how Buffalo is right now. It is what it is. And then you end up going over to our defensive side of the football. We have the best pass rush in the NFL for creating pressure through 8 weeks. Like, that is just a bona fide fact. Secondary looks a hell of a lot better with Maxwell Harrison and Jordan Poyer and Jordan Hancock being implemented into the front. So how I look at this is, sure, would I have preferred that the Buffalo Bills were to bring in a quality wide receiver number one? For sure. I would have been dancing if Brandon Beane were to send off a first-round pick for Waddle, or a truckload of picks to the New York Jets for Garrett Wilson, since they're trying to collect first-round picks like infinity stones at this point. 110%. Chris Olave, yeah, I would have. But why I'm making this video is, yes, all of you have the right to be frustrated. But I don't think any of you have the right to act like this team is not 6-2 rather than 2-6. That's the energy that I'm getting. And I don't think that you have the right that I am getting the energy that we're feeling like we're going to completely crash and burn and this team is not going to win 13, 14 plus games. That is the fact. When you look at the reasoning behind why the Buffalo Bills have been sent back from the playoffs for the past couple of years, who is it? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Folks, as far as I'm concerned right now, I'm not even particularly sure if Kansas City is going to make the playoffs right now. This formula for Buffalo has been working for the past couple of years. And these past couple of years, we have had no excuse not to win the Super Bowl. It is just based off of a matchup, of a rival that we have. So, again, I don't want anyone to be confused based off of what I'm saying here. You can be frustrated that we didn't make a move. And so I know that I am. But at the exact same time, I'm looking at how this team is overall constructed. And what I am saying is that how this team is built as is, so the second best running back in the NFL, the best tight end in the NFL, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL, there is no excuse. There is no excuse for this team not to win a Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl caliber roster. It is. Bona fide receiver number one, Tyreek Hill. Maybe you could say you're worthy his season. Dude, right? Like, they have been operating off of the everybody eats type mentality from that wide receiver room for a while. And a lot of the times of how Kansas City was able to win a Super Bowl was based off of quality offensive line play, a elite tight end, and a good-ass quarterback, and a solid run game. And that's what Buffalo has. Again, Would I have liked a receiver? Yes, I would have. Like, no questions asked. But there is no excuse that this team cannot win a Super Bowl with this current roster. And I will die on that hill. And I will damn die on that hill, brother. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the chat real fast, folks. Let's see where everyone's tapping in from. Guys, I am so sorry about this. Do me a favor, roll call in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I missed it last time. Where are you tuning in from, folks? What corner of the globe are you tapping in from? Are you at work? Are you running errands? Do you have the day off? Let me know. I'm nosy. And I want to see how far Bills Mafia truly extends. A giant shout out to some of our new members of the channel. DT 6th Borough Native. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Chris J. Perks in the building. Chris, what up, dude? How you doing, man? Dan, as much as I love the Bills, they are not making the Super Bowl with wide receiver group that they have. No way, but I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it. So I want to ask you a question, right? Let's look at some of the teams in the AFC that have an elite wide receiver room. Okay? So the two most notable, and we can even go back to 2024 and 2023, and it's absolutely correct. I cannot think of an AFC team that has put together an elite wide receiving room that has made it to the Super Bowl from the AFC. First that comes to mind is Cincinnati, okay? Like, they had Jamar Chase and they had T. Higgins. What has that gotten them? Many of you could say, oh, well, they made it to a Super Bowl. I would say that had a lot to do with their defense, and that was before that they ultimately ended up getting paid. What has that gotten them consistently? What I'm trying to paint together is, what is the formula for consistent playoff appearances, for consistent playoff wins, for consistent having an opportunity of making it to the Super Bowl? And the formula suggests that having an elite wide receiver room has not given the AFC much success. Even dating back to the Tom Brady days. How many years of those Super Bowl championships did he have an elite wide receiving room? Very few. Very, very few. So you look at what's made it work for teams in the AFC exclusively, and it's always three things: good run game, quality quarterback, top 3 QB, and a solid offensive line. That is what gives you consistency all across the board. And even the Baltimore Ravens last year, like, who did they really have? Like, Zay Flowers, I guess. But, like, so is he a Jamar Chase kind of guy? That's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Let me see. We have Portugal is in the building. Old Fart, Webster, New York. Dan, besides the Falcons and Ravens game, how does our run D stats wise? We're good. So we're really, really good. Right outside of anomalies, we're still top 5 in the league for run defense. Like, once you end up taking away those explosive plays, and with those explosive plays were the 70-yard run from Bijan Robinson, so the few from Derrick Henry, and some people like might say, oh, like, I hate that, man, like, that shouldn't have happened. It was more of a tackling issue for this run defense. And a lot of that had to do with the ineptitude of Taylor Rapp. Like, that dude cannot tackle to save his life. Now he's on the season-ending IR. So our run defense has looked very good for the past couple of weeks. Very, very good. And largely it goes into tackling. Like, who is a willing tackler, and how can you prevent those explosive run plays? And folks, I'm not going to lie to you, we have not given up an explosive run since the bye, since that Atlanta Falcons game in the first half of the Falcons game. When Sean McDermott took over calling plays, when you ultimately ended up moving in pieces and replacing Taylor Rapp with Jordan Poyer and allowing Max Harrison to get out there, and then also Jordan Hancock, this team has improved significantly. So the whole run defense thing, like, we're really, really good. Like, when you ultimately end up looking, like, just to show you guys where we're at here, as far as run defense, which is one of the biggest issues, let me see. And that's a great question, by the way. A great question. By the way, guys, I always recommend that if you are a stats nerd like myself, I would highly recommend you check out FTN Fantasy. And this is not a paid partnership. This is just something that I absolutely love. But when you go into defense, And so when you go into rushing, like based off of trends, right? Because it's pretty clear that this Buffalo Bills team has looked a lot different since after the bye. And a lot of it has to do with some of these key players that have come in. So when you go into rushing offense and you go into EPA, let's go on ahead and get some solid stuff right here. Have Buffalo as top 4 in the league since the bye week for run defense. So was more of a personnel issue as far as run defense rather than some of the anomalies that we had to play toward the beginning of the season. So it looks like the defense has worked. And guys, look, like one thing I can tell you, like, sure, like, yeah, like we want this like pass attack to really look good and pass our eye test. But like it or not, dude, like here's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys something I feel like you're going to enjoy. Let's go on ahead and really look at things into perspective. You got team stats right here. Let's go ahead and lock it in. Like, look, like where the Buffalo Bills are right now, guys. Like we're 3rd in the NFL for points per game at 29.4. Okay. Yards per game, 1. Points per play, 4. Yards per play, 3. Third down conversion, top 5, which is completely incredible. So how this defense has been playing, how we've been getting to the quarterback, how we bullied Patrick Mahomes all over the field on Sunday. So with this Buffalo Bills team still scoring 30 points with an elite tight end, an elite running back, an elite offensive line, an elite quarterback, if our defensive line continues getting to the quarterback like they have all season long, and they have gotten to him all season long, number 1 defensive line in the NFL for creating pressure. And that was without Ed Oliver and Michael Hoyt. Like both of those guys played 2 games, still top 3. If we can continue that, like guys, there's no excuse. Like there is no excuse. Oh, and by the way, so we always talk about Philadelphia and stuff like that or whatever. Like they're like, oh man, like look at that team. Look at how that is constructed. With Jalen Hurts is no Josh Allen. With Jalen Hurts is no Lamar Jackson. With Jalen Hurts is no Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's kind of why Howie Roseman is as aggressive as he is. It's based off of question marks at the Hurts situation when it comes into it. Let me see. I think this week will tell the tale if we don't let up moving forward with this big win. Well, so I'll tell you what. We are playing the Miami Dolphins, which should be a good one. I love Dan the Man Mafia. You are the best. Justin, I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate that. Sincerely appreciate it. This D-line is crazy good. I don't remember seeing Buffalo get to Mahomes like this before. Oh, dude, it's true. Brandon Beane is threatening to shut you down. No way after advertising we need a wide receiver. You believe we are just fine. Hoyt's Joker package was the key against an actual contender. So I feel like you're just operating off of your like eye test. So with the numbers, just don't suggest it. Like I said, what I wanted was a wide receiver, which would have been a luxury for this team. A luxury. I wanted the luxury. I wanted it, right? Because I wanted a defense to not have any answers for us. But guys, look, like when it comes into coverage, like, yes, we're concerned about outside of the numbers. Most teams, when they invest in secondary help, like real contracts are given to perimeter corners. Not a lot of big contracts are given to coverage linebackers or slot corners in the middle of the field. With Buffalo is dominant in the middle of the field in between the numbers. I don't think you understand how difficult it is to consistently go up against a team where they are just very good against the run, a top 5 run defense, and then also top 5 in coverage in between the numbers. It is very difficult because most teams invest on the perimeter when it comes into their secondary. Most teams invest in over the top, right? And what Buffalo does well is attack inside the numbers. We are very rarely going to go up against teams that have a top 5 run defense and have a top 5 coverage unit, specifically within their linebacker core and safeties and slot corner. It's very rare. It's basically how it plays out. Jim is saying people got to realize that Brady didn't have a deep threat passing game. Look how many Super Bowls he won without one. Look at that. Look at that. And do you feel comfortable going into a playoff game versus Indy or Baltimore run game with our current IDL room? Yeah, for sure. 110%. And here's the deal. So one thing that's like still super surprising to me, why do we still put so much respect on the Baltimore Ravens? I really don't get it. And so I really don't get it. So we have a winning record against them. We regularly outperform them, barring a regular season loss last year where we were missing literally 75% of our defense. I have no idea how fear even still exists about this Baltimore Ravens team. Like, we are just a better team, and like, we play them better. What the Kansas City Chiefs are to the Buffalo Bills, we are to the Baltimore Ravens. I really don't get like why people are still showing respect and or nervous about Baltimore in any way. I really don't get it. But so as far as Indy, like, I mean, dude, we'll see, right? Like, they did end up like making a pretty big trade with Sauce Gardner. But at the end of the day, this team is ultimately going to be tested for the end of their schedule. So they have a very difficult schedule coming up, and let's see what team they are. And with Daniel Jones, started to look a little bit more like Daniel Jones last week. Started to look a little bit more like Daniel Jones last week, especially with all those turnovers in Pittsburgh. So let's see if it's something that they can continue. I'm a big Colts guy. I love what they've done with the organization. I think they deserve all the credit in the world. But, I mean, here we are. Guys, 290 of you are in here. I need each and every single one of you to hit that thumbs up sign for me. Let's continue to propel this out to the YouTube algorithm. I do want to remind everybody that I am giving away this signed Dalton Kincaid card. Say, for example, that you want to be eligible for this card. You must be a subscriber to this YouTube channel. As many of you know, I pick the winner based off of the live chat on my Monday post-game reaction with Tommy. Say, for example, you tuned in on Monday. You saw exactly how I go about it. But in order to be eligible for this, you have to be a subscriber, and you also need to be present in the live chat on Monday, where I will select a random winner. I am actually going to be sending off that Keon Coleman helmet to the lucky winner here tomorrow at UPS, and I have given away quite a bit thus far. Let's see. Don't be crazy. Baltimore beat our ass before, too. Like when? Like when we were missing 75% of our defense? Like, dude, I have no idea why this team gets so much respect when Buffalo is clearly the better team than them. Like, it's nuts. Robert, once we got Cooper, he opened up everyone else, and our points per game shot up. But did he, though? But did he? So with the EPA, differences really weren't all that crazy. So they were. And so I feel like that's just like an eye test type take. And there's nothing wrong with an eye test take. But so the eye test is a hell of a lot more deceiving than numbers genuinely are. Yes, we needed Cooper. Yes, he helped on the outside, but it looks like Brandon Beane is really hoping that Josh Palmer can be something. It's really looking like Josh Palmer can be something. Baltimore does have a number one receiver, Zay Flowers. He barely cracked 1,000 yards last year, so that's pretty tough. Mike, he missed a bunch of feigns, and we still won those either out of... Okay, I love it. I absolutely love it. Nice. That card looks like it's from Panini Spectra. I got it off of Pristine Auction. It is Spectra, and so I'm not sure if this is a good card or something like that. I got it on Pristine Auction, and I'm glad that I'm able to get it done. Let me see. Square Table saying, by the time we got Cooper, he was washed. We have Mr. Wes Ashley. LMAO, we're not the better... Dude, what are you on, dude? Dude, what are you on? We're not the best team. What are you on, pal? My God. And so I love you, dude, but like some of your takes are crazy. And so I remember last year when you were trying to tell me that Dorian Williams was good in coverage. My God, I love you, man, but come on, dude. Listen, have some faith in this team. I'm sure Beane was looking, but with the cap space available, options were limited. Bringing in Cooper last year was a bust. Third round pick and a seventh, we'll see. Bills only beat the Ravens by 1 at the beginning of the season. Brady's play calling isn't that good despite our success. We are running screen passes on 3rd and 10. It's still like what we are doing. Question, do you think Bishop and Hairston talking about the details they saw against the Chiefs is a bad thing? It's weird they let the Chiefs know how they beat them in certain plays. Interesting. Saints made it clear they weren't moving Olave. I didn't buy it at first. I wanted to, but still, crazy stuff. If this team doesn't make it to the Super Bowl and Beane not making any moves, and do you still have faith going forward with Beane? It's not my question. It's what the organization has to say. Like, what does Beane say? Like, one thing that I think is going to help him is this. Oh, man. One thing I think is going to help him is this. Let me see. It's the Buffalo Bills draft class. It's the Buffalo Bills draft class. A lot of you guys might want Brandon Beane out. Okay? But let me tell you something that might be helping him out pretty significantly. Number one, the development of Cole Bishop, because he's been one of the best players out of the defense for us for the past 2 weeks. That's just a bona fide fact. And while we were nervous about this draft class toward the beginning of the year, it's looking like this may have been a grand slam home run for this organization with a limited sample size. I'm pretty sure that we can all agree that Maxwell Hairston is living up to expectations on just 2 short games. Max has shown that he can run stride for stride with some of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. That's awesome. You have Deion Walker in the 4th, who has been one of our best defensive tackles in the league already. You have Jordan Hancock, who has looked really good at the safety position with a very limited sample size already. And granted, we're only seeing about 2 games from Max and Jordan Hancock, but both of these guys have been absolutely nuts. And they have been absolutely incredible for us. Hawes has completely taken our tight end game to another level. Like, we are now able to see an exclusive uptick right within our overall run game. That's absolutely incredible. Same thing with Chase Lunt, who has shown, I guess, like some sort of upside, but then again, he's like a practice squad guy. But for the most part, this is a pretty good draft class. And when you ultimately end up comparing it to other draft classes around the league, this is probably one of the better ones as far as instant production. Max, in my opinion, is a giant hit. Okay? Deion Walker, massive hit. Jordan Hancock, massive hit. Jackson Hawes, massive hit. Then you end up looking at last year's draft class. You have Cole Bishop is really starting to develop. He's looking damn good right now. Okay? And if Keon Coleman somehow can go on ahead and take that next year jump, I think that saves Brandon Beane. And so I think it does. Especially if these players continue to develop. But asking me what I would do with the front office and asking what Brandon Beane would do with the front office is an entire different conversation. And so I'm not the owner. And so we're not the owners here. It's going to be this draft class right here that saves Beane. So far, I'm not sure about you guys, but it's still early. But where it is, 4 out of the... So with 4 hits already is pretty damn good. It's a pretty good damn hit rate. So that's ultimately going to end up saving the guy at the end of the day, which I appreciate. We have this Cope Much Zoo L Zoo $2. With coping with what, man? Listen, I'm just giving you the numbers. That's all that matters. I am just giving you the numbers, man. When they dropped the Slim Shady music on Cole Bishop during the game, I was so damn happy to see that he is that guy now. I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. I don't have faith in our GM. We could have picked up Myles Garrett last offseason, and we pick up Trey White and Jordan Poyer. Bosa has played good by Myles Garrett is the best, and we could have got him. Hold on. Let me see that again. I don't have faith in our GM. We could have picked up Myles Garrett last offseason, and we picked up Trey White and Jordan Poyer. So do you know how much Myles Garrett would have cost the Buffalo Bills? We would not have been able to afford him. Literally, nothing we could do to get Myles Garrett. He would want a crazy contract extension. And last time we ended up signing a defensive end like that was Von Miller. And what did that do for us? And so it is what it is. And plus, when it comes into all that, that's just how it is. Dorian Strong was doing good until he got hurt. I mean, him too, bro. It's just how it is. Dorian Strong was a good player before he went down, and we still have yet to see potential of Sanders. We have JTL, stop whining. It's a bad look. I'm not sure who he's referring to, and so nobody's whining here. We'll be getting TJ back soon as well. What is our depth looking like on defense? I know we're missing a good bit of people right now. So I feel like we're pretty good in most areas. With the exception of, maybe corner. Say that you miss Dorian Strong, but he was still largely unproven, although that he showed signs of improvement, which was pretty solid. Maybe defensive tackle, because right now we have Walker, we have Larry Ogunjobi, we have Jordan Phillips, who was recently just signed to the roster. We have Daquan Jones coming back, and then hopefully TJ Sanders gets back too. That's just kind of how it is. And do you think Buffalo Bills still need help? It's too late now. And do you think we should sign a decent wide receiver out of free agency? I don't know any decent wide receiver in free agency right now that could automatically help this team. Not unless you're willing. Well, so we wouldn't even be able to do this, where we could make Amari Cooper come out of retirement and then we trade with Las Vegas, but we can't trade anymore. So the trade deadline is all said and done. We have Nathan Ness with a laughing emoji. Clock back in, pal. All right? Stop watching me, fool. Gabe has had his issues. Yes, he has for sure. The main reason a bunch of Josh's throws were picks a couple of years ago, but let's not forget that they had some nice chemistry too. Got to see how that goes. I'm interested to see what they do. I really, really am. I think we should give Gabe a chance instead of okay. So I think a lot of people are hoping that Gabe Davis can be that guy. He's got the chemistry. The clairvoyance. I love that. He's got chemistry with Josh Allen. And whether or not that you would like to see him, he's going to come in. Interior defensive line by far and away is our most vulnerable position group. Love to see it. Q, what free agent wide receiver or D-line tackles are in free agency? It's not a lot of guys, dude. It's not a lot of guys. Spot track wide receivers. Spot track wide receivers. Let's see if we can find any free agents. Got to log into this piece. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, we got to go to 2025 if that's even a thing. Oh, let me get available. Well, this is what we got, folks. So this is what we got. And so we're not even sure if some of these guys may have even retired. You have Gabe Davis, who is on our practice squad. You have Nelson Aguilar. You have Tyler Boyd, who is a 30-year-old slot wide receiver. Brandon Powell. You have Deontay Hardy, who we brought in at once. You have Allen Robinson, who's technically still a dude. So nobody. Literally nobody. Literally nobody. And so the fans made up this wide receiver story when they need a reason for Josh's bad play, and the team just didn't agree with you. It is what it is. Exactly. And that's exactly what I got to tell everybody. It's how it is, right? So Josh had 2 stinkers. So against the Atlanta Falcons. And so against the Atlanta Falcons, and he had a stinker against the Patriots. He played bad, right? And then hopefully he just doesn't do it again. Hopefully he just doesn't do it again. Let me see. And do fans just come in here and decide to ask the most crazy takes? That's literally what it seems like. Oh, man. We have a big happy family in here. He said, not you, Dan. No problem, JTL. No problem, man. And do fans just come in here and decide to ask the most crazy takes? Hey, man, listen, we're an open forum right here. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion. We talk about it together. It's therapy. Did I miss roll call? Chattanooga, Tennessee. Oh, look at that. You did miss roll call, man, but no problem here. No problem. With Tyler Boyd is a nice name. Yeah, but I'm good. I'm good. Josh was having a lull. Gosh, he was. He was. But he looked damn good last week. Poyer and Bishop is doing a good job at safety together. I totally agree with that. We have Keon Coleman. Guy's a bust, bro. Come on. So far, yes. So far, he has not lived up to expectations. But I'm willing to bet that you were also the same guy that called Cole Bishop a bust. You probably called him a bust. You probably called Spencer Brown, our right tackle, in his first 2 years on this team a bust. So what I am suggesting is let's wait until after this year, right before we attach anything to him. That's all I'm suggesting. McDermott should be gone after this season. You cannot have your defensive play calling be the collapse of the team year after year. It is a pattern. But was it his defensive play calling? Or call that Oliver a bust? Yeah. So I'd be more patient of calling players a bust. Like, not everybody is a bust, like, after 2 years. So I'd go on ahead and I'd probably give him some time. I'd probably give him some time. And so I agree with Mr. West Ashley here. Just be patient. Don't label somebody a bust in the first year and a half. It does take time to adjust to the NFL. It does, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and lock this in. And our fan base cracks me up sometimes. Emmett, my man. McDermott should be gone after this season. You cannot have... Okay, so as far as his defensive play calling is concerned too, so when you look at some of the gaffes, a lot of that was former defensive coordinators. So with 13 seconds was Leslie Frazier, right? Maybe McDermott had something to say about it, but it's definitely a striking difference. It's definitely a striking difference between Babich and McDermott calling plays so far. He's still a good guy, so have no fear. And people don't know what a bust really means. And would let Keon play football for 5 years before he gets a label one way or the other. So my rule is 3. 3 years. That's when you could really say that a player is making the right progressions, is making improvements in his game right before you label somebody as a bust. Ask Steve Smith. Coleman is a bust. Trust, LOL. Well, I mean, so I'm pretty sure that Steve Smith's first 2 years were asked too. So Steve Smith's got some things. What does Asante Samuel bring to the team? Nothing. Wow. And hire Steve Tasker for special teams coach. Just because you're a good player does not mean you're a good coach. I agree, but it's the injuries keep hitting, and we need a dude. He is a dude. we're Gucci. I understand the frustration, but it's been one team that has kept 15 other AFC teams out all. Y'all got to relax. We could be the Jets. Ask Steve Smith about 40-9. That's what I'm saying. Can we really blame Keon, though, when everyone complains about the OC? So that OC also has this team's top 3 points per game, too. Like, with no wide receiver. Would have been nice to have another speedy wide receiver like Rashid Shaheed. Yeah, like, I guess. But, and so again, Josh Allen's really not a good downfield passer. He's never really been a good one. Best year was 9th, I think. It's kind of where we're at. Good morning, Dan the man. DD, what's going on, man? Hope all is well with you. I have heard Steve Tasker say he did not get a coaching job. Okay. Is my biggest frustration is screens at 3rd and 10. It's just who we are. It's just who we are, man. And surprisingly enough, we're actually a lot more successful with them, and then we're bad at them, which is interesting. And the DT that got released from the Raiders could be a fit. It's Christian Wilkins. I don't know. We'll see. Dan, my wife said it looked like Josh got his mojo back, like when in Austin Powers. I think that's exactly what happened. Sometimes that's like what you need to look at. All right, folks. Let's go on ahead. And that's going to have to do it for another edition of the Dom Offie Report. Folks, I appreciate you tapping in with me each and every single morning, Monday through Friday at 10:15 a.m. EST. I am going to be live tomorrow with a complete breakdown and preview of the Miami Dolphins game. I highly recommend that y'all tap in if you haven't had an opportunity of doing so already. Like this video, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. Again, I'm giving away the signed Dalton Kincaid rookie card. If you're interested in that, you must be a subscriber in order to be eligible, and you must be present on Monday for my post-game reaction to the Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so I love each and every single one of you. We will be fine. I promise you we will be good. By the end of the season, we're still going to be 14-3, 13-4. We're going to make the playoffs. Is what it is. Shout out to my boy, Mr. Wes Ashley. But yeah, guys, we're going to be good. And nothing is going to improve our moods more than putting belt to ass on Miami this Sunday. Nothing is going to make us feel better than that. Thank you so much. Love each and every single one of you. And we'll see you later. Peace.